Are you currently struggling with your 0607 International Maths revision and some of those concepts are just not being that clear for you? Hello, I'm the Ginger Mathematician. I've been teaching students exactly like you for the last 15 years. In fact, the 0607 course was the very first international maths course that I taught, so I've got a very big fondness for it. And I know some students really do struggle with some of the content on here. They always consider it harder than some of the other international maths courses. So I'm going to go through three questions, either my top three questions, to make sure you really got a good understanding. So we've got some geometry, we've got some algebra, and we've got some number work as well. So a good spread of questions. Hopefully at home, you've got your own one of these. So one of your graphical calculators, whether that's a TI Inspire or the one I have here, the CG50, because that's going to help you a ton with the paper 4 and paper 6. Right, let's get started. Okay, so this is my predicted paper. So we're going to be looking at the paper 2, the non-calculator. I know the fear comes into students' minds when they look at a non-calculator paper. It's like, I have to do those fractions myself. So I'm going to go through these three questions. Again, if you're interested in the predicted paper pack, I will talk about it at the end of the video. Right, let's go through my question 1 here. So work out giving your answer as a fraction in its simplest form. You see this a lot on paper 2. So the first thing we need to do is change each of these into fractions that we can work with. Now remember, 2 to the power of minus 2, that's the same as saying of 1 over the positive version. It's non-evil twin. And remember, if you've got a fraction with a negative power, then we can just flip it around. So we can get 2/3 to the power of positive 1. Here we can simplify this further. Remember, 2 squared is equal to 4, so that's 1 over 4. And notice the power of 1 doesn't change anything. So essentially here I'm actually asking you an adding fractions question. I've kind of hidden it within these indices. Now remember, we need a common denominator, so we can write both fractions out of 12. What do I do to 4 to get to 12? Well, I multiply by 3. So I do the same to the top. So 1 times 3 is 3. Again, here we have, what do I do to 3 to get to 12? Well, I times by 4. So what do I multiply 2 by? Well, 2 times 4 gives me 8. Now I can just add these fractions together. So 3 over 12 plus 8 over 12, that gives me 11 over 12, which by using this denominator, we get it already in its simplest form for the 2 marks. Now, generally, I make these predicted papers slightly harder than the real thing, so you feel really well prepared when you get into the exam. This is a number example. We're now going to move on to question, I think, 3. Here you can show exactly where you pick up your marks, the 2 marks for that question. So the predicted paper pack, you don't just get the answers, you get full solutions going through step by step. So on to question 13, unlucky for some, and we're going to solve this inequality. A nice question to choose because we're doing some quadratic work, but we're also doing the inequalities as well. Whenever you deal with an inequality, I first of all think of it like an equality. So I'm going to take 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 is equal to 0. And solve it normally and then deal with the inequality afterwards. Now, this can be factorized. I'm going to show you my very quick way of factorizing here because we do have a 2x squared, making things a bit more irritating. So we're going to have a bracket here, 2x and x is equal to 0. And then I look for two numbers that multiply to give me minus 3. Well, we have minus 3 and 1, 1 and minus 3. And then we can switch negatives. So we have 3 and minus 1, minus 1 and 3. Now, I've got a very large negative in comparison to the number, so a minus 5x compared to minus 3. So I probably want my biggest negative number to be on the outside, so a minus 3 here. So when I multiply these together using FOIL, I get a big negative number. If I have a minus 3 here, I need a plus 1 here. And now all we need to do is check the cross terms, so the ones I've mentioned there, to see if we get minus 5x. Let's check. So 2x times minus 3 is minus 6x. 1 times x is plus x. Minus 6x plus x is minus 5x. All is good in the world, and we do have it in factorized form. Now, we're not actually solving the quadratic here. We're finding out what's called the critical values. So CV, I call it here. And we just solve it normally. So we have either 2x plus 1 is 0. Therefore, x is minus a half. or x minus 3 is 0, x is equal to 3. So we have our two answers, x equals minus a half, or x is equal to 3. However, we're working with an inequality. It's less than 0. So I'll write this down here, less than or equal to 0, which means if we have a normal positive quadratic, so let me just draw in a very bad sketch. So something like this. We want everything less than or equal to 0. So we want this range of the answers. If this is minus a half and this is 3. So to write our full answer here, we need that black range. And the black range here is between minus a half and positive 3. So by using the shape of the quadratic, we can actually find out exactly the range of answers for our inequality to pick up that third mark. So notice here, this should say over 2. But you get 1 mark for the factorizing here, 1 mark for the critical values, and then 1 mark for writing in the way that's going to give you all 3 marks, and the examiner can just go, yep, you know what you're doing, 3 marks, and you've got it. So we've done a number example here, we've done an algebra example, and now we're going to move on to question 8 from my predicted paper, which is a very, very, very typical question. If a student literally asked me like half an hour before the exam, what should I actually revise? I would say do this question because it comes up so often, usually on a paper 2, but can appear on a paper 4 as well. So we have 2 points. So if A, 2 minus 3, and B, 6, 5. We have A and B, so 2 coordinates on a coordinate grid, and we need to find the perpendicular bisector. This is the magic word here, and get in the answer in the form y equals mx plus c. So I have a standard process here. So the first thing, I'm going to find the midpoint. Now, how do I find the midpoint of 2 coordinates? It's really easy. We just look at 2 and 6. What's halfway between the x-coordinates? Well, that's going to be 4. If I take minus 3 and 5, so minus 3 and 5, what's halfway between them? That's harder to visualize. So if you do find that quite difficult to do, which is perfectly fine, you can just do 5 minus or plus minus 3 divided by 2. That gives us 2 divided by 2, which is equal to 1. So we can find the midpoint. You can learn the x1 plus x2 over 2 formula, but I find just writing the 2 numbers, finding halfway between, you can visually see that much quicker. Number 2 is we're going to find the gradient between the 2 points. Remember the gradient formula. Again, most teachers, I think, teach it this way. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Rise over run, lots of different ways of explaining this. How does it work for this question? Well, we label our points, so we have x1, y1, x2, y2, and then we just substitute it into the formula. So our y2 is 5 minus, our y1 is minus 3, so we've got 2 negatives, watch out for that. Divided by x2, which is 6 minus 2. So remember, 2 negatives make a plus, so 5 plus 3 is 8. 6 minus 2 is 4, and so we get the gradient of 2 between A and B. But we're not looking for the normal gradient, we're looking for the perpendicular gradient. So this is where students can often forget to do that step. How do we find the perpendicular gradient when the normal gradient is 2? 2 simple steps. We just flip it around to write it as a fraction, 1 over 2, and then we change the sign. So we had a plus and now we have a negative. Again, easy way to remember. Again, don't need to learn any complicated formula. That means then that the answer that we're looking for in this form has the form of y equals minus a half x plus c. Now you're probably wondering from step 1, why did we find the midpoint in the first place? Why is that important? Because it's a bisector and we can actually substitute in x and y from our midpoint. So when x is 4, y is 1, that comes from step 1 here. Wherever we see a y, we put a 1. Wherever we see an x, we put a 4. And then we just have a fairly straightforward equation to solve here. So minus half times 4 is minus 2. And that means then that c, in order for this to make sense, needs to be equal to 3. So we now can put down our 4th mark here, which is we substitute c back into the equation, And then we have our answer of y equals minus a half x plus 3. And that gives us all 4 marks for this very typical question. Usually 4 marks, sometimes 3 marks if the numbers are very nice. You really need to make sure you can do this for paper 2 non-calculator specifically, sometimes paper 4. So you can see the mark scheme. You get 1 for the midpoint, you get 1 for the gradient, you get 1 for the perpendicular gradient, and then 1 for your final answer. Okay, if you find this useful, I'm filming this on the 18th of February. You shall not be buying it at this date. It is too early. You still need to finish the course and finish the syllabus. But when we get into March, when we get into April, this is going to be the authentic exam practice that you need in order to succeed. And in the pack, you get a paper 2, a paper 4, and my own written paper 6. I know that puts a lot of anxiety in students, and the more practice you get on paper 6, come up with a new concept for a paper 6, then the better you're going to get at it. If you want to purchase this, again, you can get this in the pinned comment and in the description down below, and that will take you through. Sometimes you need to scroll through. There's lots of predictive papers I'm doing, international maths, standard maths, add maths, A-level maths paper 1. So make sure you scroll through and you can find it there. Any questions or comments about the video, then do let me know down below. If you need to revise all of iGCSE International Maths 0607, then check out the video right in front of you, where I do go through a lot of GDC skills as well.